Today on Talk to Me, I am so excited to have my friends, Chris and Tina Reed, joining me for our family and parenting series. We're going to dive into the conversation about parenting and specifically looking for different themes that come up with different couples. So I was really grateful to have Chris and Tina because they are some of my favorite people and some of my favorite parents out there. It's good to have you guys.
Yeah, we're
Thanks
so
for
glad to be here.
yeah, thanks so much for having us on. We're really excited to be a part of this.
And you know, what's crazy is that you are such significant people to me, but this is the first time you've been on the show. What's up with that?
I know. I was thinking that it's like for years you've been telling me about how amazing the podcast is and all these great guests and stuff like that. And I was like, how come she doesn't ever ask me to be a part of it? I'm totally playing. But no,
It's true.
yeah, no. But Tina and I love you and John so much and the kids, and we love when you come visit us. And yeah, thanks for having us on.
Yes, thanks, Dad.
Let's tell people about our history, first of all, because
Yeah.
you know, you've kind of been there ever since I started in ministry. You know, the story goes that it's probably about 12 years ago now, because True Love Dates came out in 2013. So it'll be 12 years this fall. And you got a copy of the book from the publisher. And you, at the time, you and I didn't know each other, right? And then at the time, you were also the singles pastor at Saddleback Church.
Yeah.
And I don't exactly remember how it happened, but was it we ended up connecting through emails back and forth? Was that the initial contact point?
Yeah. So in my office, there's there's always like when I was a singles pastor, books that authors have written that they send to me, and you know they want you to they want you to read it and promote it and come. You know that's what happened a lot at Saddleback. So what I would do is I would get those books and I would give them to people on my team to read and say, hey, let me know what you think of this. But you had the title True Love Dates, and that really caught my eye. And so I looked at that and I turned to the back of the book, and in the back there was like, I don't know, 200 questions or like that with answers. So I look in the back of the book and I'm like, oh my gosh, these are the question, all these questions singles are asking, and the answers are so solid. And I'm like, man, this lady's pretty sharp, man. I'm gonna have a conversation with her. So with the book came a letter from the publisher and had your contact information. So I reached out to you. We set up a phone call and just instant connection. I'm like, you are the most amazing person with the most amazing heart. And I just want to see how I can partner with you and what that looks like.
Yeah, I remember that because at the time, I'm a first-time author. You know, like I don't have connections yet. And then next thing you know, this pastor from Saddleback Church is reaching out saying, like, your book's legit and we want to have you out. And John and I flew out and served your singles. And I just remember it was just such a special friendship that we formed during that time. You and Tina and your kids, I got to meet all your kids. And I remember thinking, these kids are amazing. Like this is you had such a solid family. And we were fast friends ever since, ministry partners. And here we are 12 years later. I mean, you've watched my kids grow up and I've seen you guys and your kids and, you know, through the ups and downs of life. So it's just, you know, truly, truly, John and I consider you, Chris, a brother, and Tina, a sister, and just family. So I love that you're here today.
We do too as well. We love you guys
Totally
so much.
Same.
So, you know, I remember whenever I would come out to Saddleback, to speak. And then you and I would always go out for lunch and chat through different things. And I was always wanting to pick your brain about parenting. I don't know if you remember, but one of the questions I would always ask you is, give me some tips, because I love your kids, and your kids are about 10 to 15 years ahead of mine. So it was always like watching your kids as young adults, being involved and serving, and their personalities, their faith in Jesus, the conversations I would have with your kids. It was just clear that you guys were really good parents. You don't have kids like that by accident.
Yes.
And so I was always picking your brain. And so this is why today's conversation is so great, because I get to pick your brain, but so many other people get to hear about it as well. So let's kind of start with this question. When it comes to your journey of parenting, if you had to zoom in on a theme, like this is the theme for us that's been so crucial and important in raising good kids, tell me, what would that be? And before you go into the theme, also give us a quick introduction of your family, where your kids are at currently, like ages and stages, just so people have an idea of where you're at.
Yeah. I'll go with that. So we've been married for 35 years, and we have 3 kids. Jacob, our son, is the oldest. He's 34. Kaylee, our oldest daughter, is 30. And Macy Joy she's the baby, and she's 26. And all 3 kids are, well, 2 of them are married. Jacob's married. He lives about 20 minutes from us. Kaylee just got married recently, and she lives in Belgium. And then Macy Joy is in Northern California, and she's single. But yeah, what do you want to add to that?
And we got blessed with just 4.5 months ago a grandbaby girl.
Oh yeah,
named Bella. She's so precious. So
I see her all over your Instagram. So
yeah, we're
she's
obsessed.
adorable.
We're so obsessed.
I love it. I love her.
She's so precious. She's perfect. Chris, and I just can't get enough of her. So that puts a whole nother layer to parenting, being grandparents. So special, so special.
So what would you say when you look back, especially when the kids were younger and at home, and she is the cutest little thing. Adorable. Adorable. I can't wait to meet her. What would you say was the theme for you? Like what was the theme of raising good children, healthy children? What theme came up as you thought about, as you look back?
Yeah, I think for us, we really value the aspect of being present from day one, right? Holding our precious babies, and then as they grow into toddler, they need you to pick them up when they physically fall, and then elementary school, you're being room mom. Just even if you're not saying anything, you're just them knowing that you're there for them. And then middle school, high school, adult age, it's been just very instrumental to show them that we're there, we love them, we care just by our presence, not even saying anything. But even now, they still want our presence. None of them live with us, but they want to know that mom and dad are just a phone call away, texting us. We have a family group chat. So it's been a joy to know that they still want us around too.
Yeah, I love the different ages and stages. Chris?
Yeah, I was thinking about as she's talking, like a journey of moments and memories would be the theme, I think. That You brought up the word intentional a couple of times so far, and it is just for us. It's been just really trying to be intentional with creating memories within the many moments. Right, life's made up of all these different moments, and yeah, just through all ages and stages, how can we create moments and memories?
So,
So
what are
yeah.
some practical ways that you have done that? I mean, you mentioned a couple things. I heard uh, group text threads. I heard, being physically around, um, making memories. What are some practical things as you look back, practices, habits, patterns, um, traditions, things that you have done to really, or maybe boundaries with electronics, or I don't know. I'm just thinking through what that could look like practically.
Yeah. As Tina's thinking of like some practical things that we've done, there's like a couple of templates like in my mind that we've discussed over the years. And one is just that 1% principle, we call it, like that any important relationship, we're like, is it worth 1% of our time? So relationship with God, our marriage, our relationship with each other, but also the relationship with kids. And we just kind of go very low bar with it. And is it worth 1% of our time? So, okay, so what does that mean? And when you look at a day, there's 1,440 minutes in a day. So 1% of that is, 14, 15 minutes. So is that relationship with our kids worth 15 minutes a day? And well, of course it is. So how are we going to spend 15 minutes a day with our kids individually? And then we kind of look at weekly too, and just say,
I'm going to
160.
pause you for a second because
Yeah.
for people who don't have kids,
Yeah.
that sounds so easy. But
Yeah.
when you actually map it out,
Yeah.
15 minutes individual time with a
Yeah.
family of, for you guys, a family of five, for us, a family of six,
Yeah.
you have to be intentional for that 15 minutes to happen.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen every day,
No.
by all
Yeah.
means.
It's
Yeah.
like a goal that you shoot for and you talk about, when you want to assess, hey, how are we doing as parents? How's our family doing? How's my relationship with my son Jacob or my daughters Kaylee and Macy Joy? How am I doing with that? Oh man, I haven't, it's been a couple of days I've missed, spending time with them. I really need to spend time with them. And usually it's like pain points that bring that up, right? It's like, whoa, where did that come from? Why would she talk
Right.
to me that way? Or why was I so short with them in that, so then you got to check yourself. But yeah, just that idea of departing daily from the craziness of life, withdrawing weekly from the craziness of life, and that idea of 168 hours in a week. It's basically 1.6 is 1% of that, right?
Yeah.
And so maybe 2 hours a week spending with them. But like you're saying, it's like, gosh, how can that even happen? Well, in our minds when we're planning out our week and thinking through things, it's like, gosh, I really need to spend some alone time with this particular child and work on my relationship, because it becomes more as the kids get older, it becomes more about connection than control, I think, where you're not controlling and doing this and that and this. It becomes more about the relationship.
And we would
Yeah.
do family nights every week, family night. And we would take the bed, like the futon bed, put it in the front room and have game night on it. And we'd all sleep together. And, or a movie, we'd have dinners together. We just make it just one day a week where we would just connect together too. Because we did youth ministry for 17 years, and we had sports going on. The kids were in all sorts of sports, soccer, basketball, wrestling. So, and being in youth ministry too, you're just always doing youth stuff all. So it was just nice we needed to connect together.
Yeah, part of being intentional is kind of looking at what you're doing and seeing how can we incorporate family time in there or time with the kids. Like Tina brought up the sports. I mean, we were sports family and super busy, kids in all these sports, but
he coached them all.
So like how can we be more intentional with I'm looking as a believer in Jesus. One of the things that I need to be doing is sharing my faith and working at a church. I mean, you don't come into contact with a lot of unbelievers. So how can I get into the community? Oh, and at the same time, spend time with my family and my kids. Well, I'm going to coach a team and I'll be able to connect with parents and have my kids there with me. And you just got to make sure the goal is more the relationship than, you've got to be the best ever and you're going to make the majors and,
Right.
things like that. So, but yeah, you look at that in ministry with, we would do, my job, uh, I'd bring the kids along and the kids would be there. And then we teach them about, humility and service and loving people. But you got to be careful of the negative with that too, because now you're there at church all day and are they there all day? And are they hating? Maybe they love Jesus, but they don't like the church because of what it's doing to your family because you're putting them for, other people. There's just a lot of things. And I think with all that, just being intentional about uh,
Your
being with
relationship.
God, being with each other, and then being with them and what that looks like. So that divert daily, withdraw weekly, 1% principle is something that help us with that ministry of presence.
Yeah, that's a good gauge for sure. I think you were unique in the sense that your kids were always with you. I think about whenever we did ministry stuff, you were technically working, but your kids were there. We would go out to lunch after a ministry event. Your kids were there. Kaylee would pick me up and drive me here or there as part of it. And then she would join us for an event. Like your kids were always part of the equation.
Which Deb being just so intentional with that, and we want our kids to have mentors. That's one of the components of growing healthy adults is they have mentors. And have someone like world-class speaker, author like you that I was able to bring in and affect literally thousands and thousands of singles at Saddleback. You did with my family. So the times where I would be like, oh, let's bless Deb and go to lunch, it would also be, hey, Kaylee, I'm going to have you pick Deb up and you're going to spend an hour with her in the car. And what are some questions that you want to ask her? You can talk to her about anything, hey, mom and dad are kind of blowing it in this area or they're stressing me out, whatever.
Yeah.
But that idea of having a mentor, but going back to being intentional with that in any situation you're in, right? So everyone's parenting journey is different. And it's not exactly the same. It's very different. But what we can do is look at some of those principles and the principle of being intentional, or like Tina was saying, being present, so huge for us. So important.
Yeah. Another thing I noticed along that theme for you was you take your kids on a lot of dates. Tell us about the date thing and how you do that. And, just that's a really neat thing.
Yeah. Well, we, take, like kind of theme out the date, whether Macy Joy, our youngest, she always wanted to go see the lanterns that are, and so, what,
like where you light the lanterns and fire and they rise up.
Yeah, and they have music to it, and there's like hundreds and hundreds of them just up in the air. So just, just listening to them, man, I would love to do this or that. And not saying, Mom, will you do that? But just listening, being very intentional with that. So I asked Kaylee if she wanted to go with. So we did a daughters and mom date. And I mean, it was kind of out in the boonies, but it was worth every minute because I got alone time with them driving and then driving there, driving back. And we still talk about that to this day, just how fun that was, just being together in a little road trip together. And so I think theming things out with Jacob too, like just listening to him again about what is his desires. He likes movies. He loves different movies. So I know with Chris too, he'd like take him out on what he like ones that I wouldn't want, the beat him up, shoot him up, bang bang kind of ones. Like so that's kind of like what we're doing, and even currently too with them.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
again, just spending some time thinking about how can I make this fun or special or a memory, that kind of thing. That's a huge piece of it. And then when you're out alone with them, whatever that looks like, the question I would always ask each one of them, because I take them all out one on one. Tina would too a lot. But I'd shoot for weekly, and maybe it was like every other week or monthly sometimes, just the busyness of life. But really wanted to shoot for that goal of doing it weekly. But I would ask them, hey, what's one thing? Give me one thing I can do better to be a better dad. What's that? And
Mhm.
and then they would come with some very
Mhm.
honest things. I can remember one of the big ones, and it was a reoccurring theme with our kids, and all three of them at different times, and that hit you in the face, right? And it was this idea of, Dad, you're like present, you're with us, but it seems like you're thinking of other things sometimes. And for me, that's kind of an issue with like with and it would go back to work a lot. That was the thing. I was always thinking about, work stuff. And so I would have to fight myself to really be in the moment and not just being with them, but being connected and listening and, engaging and asking questions. Tina's so fantastic at that. She's always been so good at that. Something I've always struggled with. But a cool byproduct of that too was after I would answer the question, they would always come back. All of them would come back every time. Dad, what's one thing I can do to be a better daughter or a better
Mm.
son? That kind of thing. And we'd have a great conversation about that.
Yeah, and piggybacking on that, if I is now like Macy Joy, Kaylee, and Jacob, they want to be intentional too as adults, which is so sweet. Um, as far as like Macy, we would always see Minions shows together. So she picked me up from work, got me a little Minion doll, and just like and flowers, and like took me to a movie. Like so, it's just so sweet when they like do that. Like you never forget it, and
Yeah.
it's such a blessing.
We'd take them to a local baseball game. The Angels are close to us. We live in Orange County, California. It's like a half an hour away. So we would go there into a to a game, but beforehand we're like, okay, before, during, and after, whatever the thing is we're doing, before, during, and after, can we create a memory? Can we do something special or something fun? So we were the family that would paint our faces and where, and then we would try to start the wave when we're there, and just do some things that we probably shouldn't be doing, like putting popcorn or peanuts on our knees and flicking them out at people, and it hits someone, and it kind of so but just doing some weird things
Silly.
like that.
Yeah, but I like that. I like the intentionality layered over the intentionality. It's
Mhm.
not just, okay, we're just going to go do something together,
Mhm.
but what is the goal of this time together? The goal is to
Yeah,
connect. The goal is to create memories.
yeah,
Here's some question prompts, conversation prompts,
yeah,
intentionality, and how do we make this memorable? So it's just
yeah,
not just another thing, but connecting during that time. I think sometimes where people get it wrong is it's like, okay, we have a family movie night and that's our family connection time, but
Mhm.
you're not really connecting if
yeah,
you're just pressing play and then the
yeah.
movie ends. Like there has to be
So
something layered to that.
yeah, and
Sure.
here's like a layer to it, or an example of what you're saying. So like when we would watch a movie together, what we would do, like Tina said, we would literally, we lived in this house, and it was like 1,000 square feet. It was 1.5 bathroom, and there's five of us living in there. And the front room was so small. All the rooms were small. So we'd get our bed. We had this big California king bed, which took up our entire master bedroom, and we would pull the mattress out and drop it in there, and it would kind of be wrapped around the couches that we had, and just do, throw a lot of stuff there and have fun with that. We'd watch Nacho Libre, for example, and there's a lot of food pieces in Nacho Libre, and what we would do ahead of time is make the salad, and when it's time he's eating the salad, we'd bring out the salad and pour the dressing on like they did, and then the chips and blah. So we would just kind of do things like that, to
Yeah.
try to make it fun instead of just kind of sitting there and watching stuff. And yeah.
Right. Intentionality, good questions, conversations,
Mhm.
Yeah.
memories. Like I definitely see that theme for you. So what would you say was the biggest struggle of the parenting journey as you look back? Was there a different
Mm.
age or stage or theme when it came to that was just harder for you?
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, because I might start crying.
I think a lot of, with your faith, it has to become your own, right?
Yeah.
So I think time they have to work out their, like scripture says, their salvation with fear and trembling. So it's like it's an ongoing process. So I think, there's been ups and downs with having adult children, I feel like.
That's
Just
been the toughest phase.
mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're trying to navigate Jesus on their own,
Mm.
Right.
and the way you brought them up isn't exactly how they're living, And as far as just wanting the desire, let's go to church every week, And so because now they have the freedom to make all of their own choices, right?
Yeah. And so I think specifically when we're saying adult children, so far, I mean, we got two kids in their 30s now.
Yeah.
Just that 20s, the early and mid
Mhm.
20s, such a tough age, because some of it is like, y- we didn't raise you that way. Like, what these decisions are, or even like financial decisions, you're like, oh my gosh, that's like thousands of dollars that how are you
Yeah.
crazy? How are you making those? So, to people they date, it's
Yeah.
who do how how are you? I don't even understand what's going on
Right.
right now.
And
You
like you
know,
said, there's no control. And it's not like you have control
Right,
in that sense anymore.
right.
You have influence, you
Mhm.
have connection, but you don't
that's
have
the
control.
that's the big thing I think that
Well,
we've
for
learned
me,
about
for
ourselves.
me, it's like it's releasing them to the Lord because He's our peace. Because I'm not going to have peace in this world. We none of us like how the Lord wants to give you. So it's really brought me more on my knees, really on my knees to pray for them deeper as and that they will have that hunger and desire for Jesus like I did. We all had to grow up in the Lord too. So just that they would hunger and thirst after him first before anything. Before I've always told the kids I love Jesus more than your dad. I They'll tell you that from because he is our first love. So that they would just desire that
Yeah.
and want to be intentional with him first before
Right.
anything else. But
Yeah. Chris, you were saying that the biggest struggle in that age of parenting, that stage of young adulthood, was also revealed something about you. What was that?
Yeah, just how controlling I can be. Right. I remember telling a friend, he's national speaker, author, like you, and just kind of, and I probably shared this with you before, Deb, too, is but he said, you know what, you're kind of like a helicopter parent. And I said, dude, there is no way I'm a helicopter parent. And he goes, that's exactly what a helicopter parent would say. I'm like, well, no, that's kind of, I don't know about that. But anyway, it got me thinking, like, how controlling am I with stuff? And what I know my personality is, when I feel like things are out of control or not going well or how I think they should go, I tend to get more controlling, whether it's with my staff or with my family, right? With stuff. It's just like, no, I'm gonna make sure that this goes the right way. But when your kids are out of the house and they're on their own and they're making these decisions, it's really hard to just stand by and, like, what's the line of me saying something and nudging, pushing,
So you're
because
keeping your mouth shut a lot more, and
Yeah.
just and letting them ask questions, and not, and us too, not like statements, but not drilling them. So there's a lot of discernment in that, I think, and timing, and like I said in the beginning, prayer. And
Yeah. Yeah. And I think something you said is really interesting. You're talking less as this stage evolves, but you're praying more. You're
Mhm.
letting them do the talking, come to you. Not that you can't ask questions and not that you still don't have influence, but it's very different navigating 20s, late 20s, 30s than it is when, your kids are in fourth grade.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's,
And-
but like you said, don't you think that the key then, since you don't actually have control, like as kids get older, your control decreases, but if your connection increases, then you still have the privilege of having influence, because
yes.
influence is based on connection.
Yes,
Absolutely.
that's a huge goal one of the things Tina and I had always said is, when our kids move out of the house, one of our goals is that they would be best friends and love each other, love Jesus, of course, and and also just want to be with us, want to hang out together with us and as a family. And one of the reasons for that is that we want to have influence in their life still, that we can share something with them and they'll really take it to heart, because you feel like you live your life for all these years and you have all this experience and you can kind of see what's harmful, and you have a lot of discernment or a lot of wisdom, and you want to share that with them and stop them from going through certain pain that
Mhm.
you went through, right?
Yeah.
So how is that going to happen? Well, it's that whole idea is they don't care how much you know until they
Mhm.
know how much you care,
Right.
right? And they're asking those three questions of can I trust you? Do you care about me? Then do you know what you're talking about?
Right.
And so a lot of times we lead with that, hey, we know what we're talking about. And maybe there's not a lot of trust at the time because you don't trust me, Dad, because you're moving in and doing things your way, and trying to say this is things that I should do in a real strong way. And so yeah, I think it's for me, it's been, I need to relax a little bit more with stuff.
But there
Yeah.
was, I think, along the lines of Deb, your new amazing book coming out about feelings. I think just recently, one of my daughters was just sharing her feelings with me about something that literally I was blindsided about. Like mom, and I mean, she's 26 and she's like really sharing her heart. Just, Mom, I know you wouldn't do anything to hurt me. I know, but this did hurt me, just so sweet. And I literally was like, I am so, so sorry that I didn't realize that. I was totally unaware, but I thank you so much for sharing that with me. She could have held that and been bitter and angry, resentful towards me. But yeah, so that's so, yeah, I'll never forget that because that really hit me like, wow, I need to be more aware of her feelings in certain situations, even as an adult. More.
That makes me think about, with regards to emotions and with regards to your theme of being present with our kids and their emotions. I think we do have to open our eyes to the moments that they decide to share something that they feel. even if we totally disagree or think it's like, okay, you should not be feeling that, or, whatever. I think sometimes the tendency is to be defensive before being present and just receiving it. It doesn't even have to be accurate, but I'm saying, I hear what you're saying and I'm
Right.
receiving your emotions. I'm creating space for you to tell me how you feel, because that builds connection more than many other conversations can. Like when we talk about the levels of conversation, the first level is the facts. You can talk about all kinds of facts with your kids. The second level is your opinions and your ideas. Here's what my opinion is about this, my favorite this. But then the deepest level are their feelings. And when they have a moment to share, even if it's, I'm frustrated with you, I'm angry, I'm hurt. As a parent, you never really want to hear those things. And I think it's easy to be like, well, if you wouldn't have done this first, but that's not the goal in the moment. I think the goal in the moment is to receive their feelings first. And then later on, we can offer correction, feedback, whatever. But sometimes our instinct in the moment is to deflect it instead of just receive what she's feeling. You could have said, well, I didn't mean to hurt you, and you should know that I would never hurt you, and maybe it was misinterpreted, but that's not what you did. You just received it first. And that in and of itself, I think, builds a connection like not many other things can, you know?
That's yes,
Okay.
yes. And that's been Tina for all these years, Deb, that she's such a great listener. And our girls and son too, but the girls share so much with her, and she receives so many things and doesn't come back defensive or attacking or anything like that. She's always been so humble like that, and wanting to learn and grow, and cares about their feelings a lot.
Yeah. Uh, would you say that you share your feelings with them? And what has that looked like?
Me or Chris?
Either
Me?
of you. Let's start with Tina.
Oh yeah, probably more than they want to hear. Totally, totally. Like, but it's sweet. They listen. They listen to me. In fact, even Macy lives 7 hours away now. Kaylee lives, I don't even 5,000 miles away. I don't even know how far.
3 years away.
But but it's just yeah, it's just nice that we can FaceTime and have the family group chat just to share my emotions, with just, hey, can you pray for me about this? I'm struggling with this. I'm yeah, I'm just need time, alone time. Just any kind of feeling. I feel
Yeah.
really comfortable in doing that
Yeah.
with them. I'm
One
grateful.
one thing I've actually observed with my kids, and especially my boys, when it comes to parenting, like let's say one of them was really rude. So there's two tactics. Tactic number one is to say, that was really rude, and you should apologize, which doesn't necessarily work well. But then I've learned the second approach is just to be honest and say, hey, that really hurt my feelings. When you were disrespectful, it really hurt my feelings because I don't deserve to be talked to that way. And then I just leave it at that. And literally there hasn't been a time when they haven't taken that, sat with it, and then come back and said, hey, I'm really sorry, mom, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings, that was rude. But when I try to like be intense and call them out and just correct them instantly without them knowing, why is this even wrong, like this is how it affected me, they tend to get defensive in scenario A, but in scenario B, they let their wall down and they realize, oh wow, like I didn't want to hurt her in that way, and I'm really sorry. So even when it comes to sharing what's going on inside of us, I think it can be really important, and it models to the kids, this is how you do it in a healthy way. Now, granted, I think some people probably take it extreme. We're not talking about like emotional dumping on our children, but we are talking about modeling to them. And as they get older, like in your case, Chris and Tina, like they're not just your kids, like now they're your friends, and the relationship changes. One thing I want to make sure we cover, because I was curious about intentionality, what does it look like to be intentional with them in this stage? Like, are you still planning things, or, coming up with ideas, hosting things? They all have their own schedules. Like, what does it look like to be intentional with adult children?
What's so crazy and so fun is we're reaping a lot of what we sowed in that particular area. So the kids are very intentional about reaching out to us with things and each other. With the girls, for example, both of them on their drive home, they both have, I don't know, maybe like a half-hour drive home. They call us. So with Kaylee, it's early in the morning for us, and we talk. Like this morning, we were talking with her, and it's almost every morning that she calls and we connect. With Macy Joy, she drives home and it's at night, and we talk later at night with her. So they're so great with that. We Jacob, our son, he lives about half hour from us, and we see him like once a week. We get to see we get to see Bella. We get to see the grandbaby.
And her
And,
daughter-in-law.
oh yes, and there's wonderful Melissa too. But but what Jacob does is he takes pictures and video clips constantly of the baby and their family, what they went and
they're doing,
and they just put up pictures and videos. So that keeps us connected to. Holidays, have been a little bit of a challenge. So got two of them married now. So what is that going to look like moving forward? The other one lives farther away and she would have to fly and use vacation time. And, so we're kind of navigating all that. But it's, a couple times a year we'll get together. Mother's Day, uh, Easter, Thanksgiving, Christmas, we kind of look at those as times where we could all get together in a particular way. Sometimes one can't make it, so we make sure to just do Instagram and bring them in and, have them present and stuff like that. Birthdays, we kind of celebrate that way. Yeah, so connections, a lot of it's digital like that now.
So really the best thing you did in your parenting journey was establish strong connections with your kids. It wasn't even, the character. They have good character. It wasn't even, taking them to church, even though you took them to church, because people can do that, and it doesn't always lead to good connection. People can do all of these things and try to, like, okay, if I do this and if I do this and if I do this, hopefully it'll work out. But really the best way that you have found to stay connected and have healthy relationships with your kids is to build the foundation of connection as a family, but then to each of them individually over the years.
Yeah, the top thing, the best thing we did as parents is introduce them to Jesus, and just for us to live that life at home and not be different. Second, I would say is our marriage, and just healthy, growing marriage, and loving each other, and bringing that confident, solid foundation with that. Third would be, I think that just that making memories with them, those connections, those ongoing moments, really taking advantage of moments, being intentional, uh, trying to be consistent with those things. Fun is a huge value of our family, so we want to have fun because so many things aren't fun, and life can be so, you know, crazy and painful, and there's so much there's so much out there that is evil and bad and negative and hurtful, and and the loneliness, depression. There's so many tough things out there. What we want our home to be is one of the opposite of that, right? It's loving, it's encouraging, it's building each other up. So you don't talk to my wife that way, or you don't talk to my son that way, or talking with them, that you love each other. And I think just really showing them what it looks like to love Jesus and love others. Another template that we use frequently and still to this day is the love languages template, right? The
Yeah.
5 love languages. So when you talk about time and touch and gifts and acts of service and words of encouragement, and just kind of how can we do all those things to express love to you know, our kids, and then to them, to us, and to their brothers and sisters. And so just really creating this family unit that does love each other. First Corinthians 13, 4-7, best definition of love ever there. And you look at each one of those elements: being patient, being kind, forgiving, all the things. And how can I express that to our family?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. You guys are doing a great job. You have done such a great job, and you're still doing a great job. And it'll be amazing just to see as your family grows and more grandkids, and, just
Yeah.
the legacy that you are leaving. So I so appreciate the two of you.
Yeah.
Okay, I know that you also have you're very passionate about parenting, and I think you still have a parenting podcast. Is that right, Chris? Is that still a project, or?
It's up. My role changed a few years ago at Saddleback, so I'm not doing that anymore. But there's a onpurposeparents.com, and that is it's a website where, when I was the parents pastor for a couple of years, I was building that as one of the tools and resources for other parents. So it's like all free stuff, and there's blogs and videos
Yeah.
that we shot, and but there was a podcast too, and that's still up on YouTube. I think the YouTube, it's Saddleback Parents. uh, you can search. But yeah, there's some great content on there by Kurt Johnston and Grace Yoon. Just brilliant, fun, amazing people. I was really the guy who was doing the recording and the
He
editing
popped in.
and all that stuff. I jumped in a few times, but yeah, it's a great tool. And um, yeah, it's just parenting is the most difficult job on the planet,
But the most rewarding too.
Yeah.
and it's the most important job on the planet too.
True.
I
And
know.
you can't do it by yourself. So you
Yeah.
So
doing this
true.
series is going to help so much with
Yes.
people being able to just kind of listen and process certain things. And
Yeah.
but
Well, John and I were watching The Chosen with the kids the other day, and after they left the room, I was like, we have our own little disciples. Like, we don't have 12, we have 4.
yeah,
But if you think about the task of discipling these kids, like, that's really what it is. It's a ministry, it's a discipleship program where you get them from birth and you have 18 years to disciple and to lead and to teach
Yes.
and to model. And it is really the most important ministry. So thank you for
totally.
your example. And we love you guys so much.
Yeah.
We
Thanks
love
so
you and
thanks so
John.
much for having us on the podcast. And you and John are just the most amazing people. You're two of our most favorite people in the world, and you guys have such a heart to help others. And you have so much wisdom and experience and knowledge. And I love how you just share that in so many different mediums. And yeah,
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you.
thanks for letting us be a part of
Oh,
your life.
anytime. And hopefully this is the first, but not the last. Love
Oh
you
yeah,
guys.
that would be great. Love you too.
Love you too.